Pretty good. How are you? I mean, I got to admit, I'm fairly close to throwing in the towel.
Um, yeah, I don't want to say too much, just so I don't reveal plans on what I want to do. Um, I think it'll depend on how effective the reinforcements are. Um,
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to be very effective at all. I
well,
mean, I'm honestly,
hey guys, you got it.
I was thinking about it last turn. I wanted to kind of play out this turn and just see where it gets, but
Mm.
I don't think there's going to be much hope, to be honest. So
It's six squads and a leader. Hmm. I
yeah,
mean,
they're not very good six squads. That's part of the problem,
yeah,
and you've got a
conscripts.
few too many. You got a few too many troops left. Like I haven't killed enough. I mean, I've killed some, but
Well, I think if anything, we should definitely play till the end of uh, your turn where you get the reinforcements. Um, because this is always going to be contentious in the sense that as soon as you get your reinforcements, they can come in off the east board. So there's plenty of space for them to come in. Um, so this isn't that building isn't a guarantee. Uh, and then for the other building, that kind of depends on how advances and CCs go, as well as other stuff, but mostly advances in CC.
yeah, I gotta be like I said, I'm not very sanguine about this particular go round, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll play out this turn at any rate. So yeah.
All right. Let me just make sure. I think I had to change one thing here. Also, I'm just gonna play this since it happened
Stick to me
uh,
like glue.
off
Keep
stream.
your eyes open.
Thank you, sub brief. We are on part 3. There we go. All right. So, I think this was the middle of my movement phase, so we'll just go from there. Turn, yeah, movement phase. All right. I think the last guys to move were these guys. So they had spent 3 to get there from EE1. Um, so when they get there, the leader's gonna split, and he's gonna continue down to EE9 for 4. And then go into GD9 for 6.
Okay.
Um, the hero in Z6 is going to normal move to AA6.
Okay.
Continues to BB5 for 3.
Okay.
And then goes to CC6 for 4.
All right.
Um, God, I didn't get that position. These tanks will start for 1, so they'll go into motion.
Do they have to roll to start or no?
Uh, I forget. I think they do because of the red numbers. I just haven't started them in a while. Let's check. I'm pretty sure it's the case though.
Yeah, I can't remember. So
Red. Yeah. Oh, for the love of God, is it really in that? With a red, yeah, so it's a D2.51 mechanical reliability. So I basically just roll a DR for each of them. If I get a 12, then they break down and are immobilized. So almost and no. Is there any pluses? No. Okay. So they both start. I'm going to turn them 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That goes away. So that's 4 total because they had to spend 1 to start, and then 5. And I will turn this guy's turret there, and that guy's turret point backwards. I will also... you know what, I'll do that later. Is that worthwhile? Oh, you know what? Yeah. Z6 is going to dash to X5 via Y6.
Okay.
And then the squadron AA7 is going to assault move to BB6.
We'll fire at you from the church.
Yep. So 8 down 1. Alright, well, they're dead. Anyways, even on a cower. Because 1 on 8 is. Or 1 on 6, sorry. 2K, yeah. So he's dead. That is a sniper. Yeah, so that's a sniper, so... Oh my god. Sniper is there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nearest target is DD7, so breaks that guy.
Well, he's gonna die.
No, he'll be fine to route. Funnily enough. And then I'm going to have this guy in Z8. He's going to... he'll normal move to AA8. And then finish in AA7. Actually, yeah, he can. And that's it. Defensive fire phase.
Over to you.
Alright. Let's take off residual. I technically can. I'm going to do fire group with DD7, CC8, and DD8. They're all going to shoot at CC7, so it's full power versus the unconcealed guy, and halved again as a conceal. So it's 6 for both squads, and then so 9 total, and 4.5 against the concealed guy. Or sorry. Am I calculating that right? It's halved. I'm not doubling. Yeah. So it's 9 up 2. From your sniper. That's 6. 6 on 9 is a 1 MC, and then 4.5 is a NMC to the concealed guy. No other shots. Route phase. So route phase, this guy is actually fine since his route path has to go up to DD6. Um, and then immediately as he gets there, then he has to route again, or has to continue routing so he can route to EE6 because he can't see the guy in EE3. Now, if you continue to EE5, that's always an option, but
I get my sniper guy.
oh yeah, you also get your sniper guy. Oh. So that's 2, 4, well, 5. Okay, yeah, so he has to stop there. Two. My guy in Y3 is just gonna stay where he is. And that guy's fine, that's just a malfunction. Alright, no more routes, advances. MMG's stack is going to go into EE8. That will CX him. Oh wait, no, they're fine by 1. The LMG in the squad go up 1. These 2 squads go with the pin. Same with the hero.
I concede. There's no point in fighting this out.
You really, even with the reinforcements?
Because I just lost another one of my elites to that. I'm going to be losing that particular building. And there is basically no way for me to pull out a win on this. So yes, I'm going to concede.
All right. Let me. This. Did you have any time to work on the save?
I haven't had time to even look at it. I'm sorry. It's been a busy day.
All right, no worries. So
yeah,
then
I mean, if this guy broke, and he's probably going to be breaking. Since I've conceded, I'm not going to worry about it. These guys are all fake. You don't have no way to use these guys. They can move down here, but you have more than enough firepower between all of your tanks and all of your machine guns and everything. This guy is about to get annihilated because he's going to go into combat here and probably get screwed up. And then these guys or the tanks or both are going to just shoot him to hell because he has nowhere to go. And if he ever gets broken, he can't retreat at all. So yes, he's berserk, but that's not going to help him for very much longer. This guy is about to get gangbanged by a lot.
Yeah.
It's 2 to 1. So yeah, that's probably going to devolve into a melee, but I don't see myself winning that. And the other squad here with the LMG plus the MMGs is just going to myrtleize anybody that comes up or off this edge of the building. It's I'm fairly sure you're positioning these guys to have free line of sight everywhere over here, if not the tanks. And coming up here means these guys are just going to pile out them. And they're conscripts, so they're crappy. So yeah, I just don't. I don't think it's worth the effort to try and play it out. I guess I think it could maybe deny you the victory, but that would be about it. And I think that would be pushing it, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, certainly the sniper is probably the one thing too I wasn't thinking of, or at least I don't know why I wasn't thinking of, was last night I wasn't thinking of Z6 to X5. So killing that other squad via failure to route was also another big thing.
Yeah, I mean it's just the way it goes.
I think though despite how hard it was to get any LOS with it, I think like this wasn't actually all that bad. Especially since you could get LOS on the hills to the south, and you kind of lock out the southeastern position without
No,
being.
it's a trap position because there's no way to get out of it. Once you're
Mm,
up in that tower, you have to basically flee before the enemy gets there, or you're trapped, which is what exactly what happened.
yeah,
And
but
so I'm starting to think that single hex multi-story buildings are not necessarily worth the effort unless they're far enough back that they just are, they're on the back side of the map where they can kind of stay there for a while. But up on the front edge, I don't think they're. I'm not sure they're necessarily worth it,
I'm
unless I
kind
have
of
more troops to put on the base, which I didn't really.
mm, I'm kind of wondering if maybe because like one thing that's obviously possible. I forget if you had the opportunity to do so or not. Um, when you had guys in BB, or they might have been fakes. That's probably what it was. It's definitely hard to figure out where to put units because like if you defend too far up north, then you're leaving a lot of open space down to the south, which obviously is more inviting to the tanks. Oh, you want to know something? That tank you sniped that you thought was a bad decision, that was my armored leader guy. I,
Well,
I,
okay, I'll take that.
literally never got. As soon as you picked him with the sniper, I was like, "Oh wait, that's my armored leader tank."
Well, I guess small wonders. Yeah, the major problem here is that I have a lot of ground cover and like I just don't have quite enough the troop density to do it. I don't think, or at least I'm not proficient enough at ASL to be able to do it.
I was actually so that's something I was thinking about, and I thought it was weird that because I was looking at the scenario card, the balance is if you're Russians, its game length is 7 turns, so all you do is take a turn off, which it's not nothing. Like one whole turn can be a lot, especially if you're screwing somebody over with movement. But it kind of also eliminates Russian movement, which since it's happening, or yeah, Russian movement, which happens after. You would think you would want that last movement to sort of give you the ability to fight back a little bit more. So I was kind of wondering like if maybe in a different world I would change that to be, I don't know, maybe like um, battle hardened two of the 336 squads that come in from off board or something along those lines. Maybe give them an extra LMG.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the tanks are the kicker here, and while I think I was more successful than I was expecting to be in getting them off the board, I mean, those recalls, were a surprise to be honest. I didn't think I was going to be able to get rid of any of them. The
Mm.
MMGs are pretty much the only thing that can touch it, aside from like direct assaults. I mean, I think there's that weird thing with the streets, but that's kind of hard to set up. I feel.
Yeah, so I guess the problem is probably also the fact that since we've never really delved into um, CC combat with vehicles, I should see if I can find. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can find an article in one of the journals, and I'll send it your way, in case you want to read up on street fighting tactics. Um, it's obviously harder with the early war ones, or actually pre-war ones, because you have less tools available in the sense that you don't have like anti-tank magnetic mines. Um, if you're Japanese, you get the DC suicide guys, etc. Um, but there's still some some good opinions on like when you should choose to send a squad into street fighting, especially
Yeah, I mean, I
since.
don't know. What's the victory points for the tanks? Like, is it worth it?
Did I have a VP? I didn't have a VP limit.
No, I'm sorry. What's the casualty cost? Because I think that's the killer. Is I had to kill enough of your guys to cause you to fail, basically.
So the way to calculate a vehicle is it's one for vehicle, um, one if it has a main armament. So this guy wouldn't have the main armament because it's malfunction. It has to be functioning M8. whereas the other guy would be a 2 at this point. You get 2 for the crew because the crew is always worth 2, and then you get 1 point per 5 armor points of the maximum. So I know I'll get a tank that I know is super strong. All right, so for example, this IS-3. So the IS-3 is a vehicle, so you get 1 point for that. You get 1 point for the main armament if it's functional, 2 for the crew, so 4 total so far, and then an extra 5 because it has an armor value. The highest armor value is 26, so you divide. Actually, is it rounded down or rounded up? I think it's rounded down, minimum 1. Um,
So your tank's going to be, call it 5. I think they have, what, 1 armor?
yeah, so essentially, if the crew dies, then the entire thing is 5. Okay, so if you want the official thing, it's A26.2122. So it's uh, each vehicle is worth 1, then 1 for MA, which is not malfunction or disabled, and then 1 VP for every multiple of 5 fractions rounded up. So actually, an IS-3 is worth 10 points if you kill it.
Yeah, you know what? Looking at this, it actually, I look back at the victory conditions, and you don't have a casualty trigger, so
Yeah, so
it
it's
basically all boils down to that CC right there, because I don't have the troop strength to push you out.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with that. This building is a little bit weird because it's a victory building, but it's also too far forward to defend, really.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that one. I guess in a way I feel like it exists to drive tension because you're kind of giving a freebie to the Polish guy so that they don't feel too distraught at having to go to the other side of the village. Um,
I think in hindsight, what I will do, or what I would do if that we were playing this again, is really focus on making this a little fort,
mhm,
so that it's very hard to get in there, or to get past there on either side. Because that way you can kind of retreat, or you can cover the back end with just a few troops or with the reinforcements,
mhm.
and you make it difficult to get over here to get in. Because there's a lot of open ground you got to cover. So you either have to fight through this terrain against a fairly decent force. I mean, 447s are not too bad.
Mhm.
I think I was just too spread out, not concentrated enough, and yeah. And at that point, like, the medium machine guns can be concentrated a bit more. So maybe you fire group them or something to maybe try and affect the tanks a little more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also,
It's
Pans is in the chat if you want to say hi to Panza.
Oh, hey, Banza. Watching me
Um,
be horrible at ASL.
that's not that bad. I think you give yourself less credit than you deserve, to be honest. It's
Yeah, I'm
definitely.
really going to take to myself because I misread the rules about those guys. I thought they were up at level 2, which would have made the LOS a little better.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, honestly, though, I still, like I said, I don't think it was that bad of a choice because when you're looking at it from what is it? Yeah. So so while there we go. So while the LOS is bad whenever it comes to the left side, you have really good LOS uh, to the hill and to the east. So the MMG can do a lot to essentially lock this entire bottom area off. Um, Being isolated obviously is actually, you know what? I don't think I even thought about doing that. So something I'll have to keep in mind whenever we do this again is if you control every ground level uh, entrance, so to like quote unquote, to a building, you automatically encircle everything on the upper floors. So it's something to keep in mind for future stuff. I don't know why I haven't thought about it yet. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm so that's kind of what I'm getting at is that I would kind of that guy's fine and it's a decent position and it obviously has pretty good fields of fire,
mm,
but it needs covering along the bottom. Like there needs
yeah.
to be troops at kind of screening the base so that if nothing else, you can get the gun out
Well, did
relatively easily.
did you have a squad on the ground floor? I don't know why I'm thinking you did.
I think I had some dummies down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a
Hmm.
really large part of my force is dummies, particularly over on that side. I was kind of expecting a little bit more of a push from the
Yeah, you do have
kind of the left
12.
side of the map there.
Mm. 12, you could get 6 fake stacks if you're doing 2 each. Hmm.
Yeah,
Actually,
I mean the stone wall, the woods, and the buildings all in that nice little tight group because you can move around relatively easily because you get a bunch of hindrances and stuff like that. Um, and it kind of protects you when you're starting to move back because you get the block from the wall of blocking LOS from people guys on the ground, so you can kind of retreat back into that buildings line, the CC8, BB7, AA7 line.
hmm.
And then you can maybe hop across to the BB5 line or have the depending on who's back there if there's actual units back there you can do that or your reinforcements can kind of come in on that back building and sweep forward and maybe kind of try and you know push just in to contest control over the church.
Yeah.
um,
I think if there's if I had to pick one thing that I think was maybe the mistake and probably the same idea that you had and maybe the bad LOS, if that's the right way to say it, is probably this MMG in Z5. Now it doesn't help that it one it malfunctioned because of course all we ever do is malfunction stuff, and I think I got a critical with the tank, so like it, you know in and of itself, it's a minor thing, but compounded with everything else, kind of made it worse. Because I think the only thing it did was get like 2 3 shots off on a tank, and it just didn't penetrate, which is just unfortunate, really.
yeah, and to be honest, in hindsight, I suspect that what I should have been doing with the MMGs is focusing on the infantry. Like, you really got to cull it down to the point where it's kind of iffy whether you can do the assaults and hold out against that wave of conscripts. Because yeah, there are a lot of conscripts. What is it, like 6 or 8 coming in?
I think you have 6.
Six
Yeah,
and a
6.
NATO leader. So you're six and is that a commissar?
Uh,
Anyway, yeah, it's 6 units, which is not that's a decent force, particularly if you're coming in against a depleted force.
mm,
But the problem was I chose to focus them on the tanks because they're literally the only thing that I can have that can affect it at range theoretically.
yeah.
When I think really the key to this is I don't want to say ignore them, but you really just kind of got to work around them and focus on the infantry that's supporting them and try and peel that off. Like they're going to do damage to you, um, so you got to be hopping buildings to block LOS and things like that. But you just don't have a lot that can do it. And I think the the Russians get a -1 on their Patsy to try and do anything to it, so it's even harder.
I think so. Yeah, the plus. Yeah, it's a 1 patsy.
So
Conscripts take a 2 patsy, so they're never gonna.
yeah, so like the tanks, you just got to kind of avoid them and try and break LOS so they lose acquisition and all that fun stuff. Um, yeah, honestly, I think sorry, my daughter has gotten out of bed again.
No worries.
So I'll be right back. I have to go make sure she's in bed.
Yeah. All right. Well, while he's or while they are away, um, yeah. I mean, I think this could have continued, but uh, definitely, definitely would have really depended on this building, because if this building doesn't last, then that's over. Um, I think it's game end and not any turn. yeah, it's game end. So you've got three. They would have had 3 turns to fight back, but I don't even think I would have LOS on a lot of this. Yeah, I don't have LOS there. I have LOS with this tank, but I get one shot because the gun's so shit. Also, it's in motion, so I'm kind of screwed. Um, I was kind of thinking that if, especially since the squad in DD7 broke, had that not happened, had the sniper not activated, I think it would have been much closer, just because of the and the pin as well. I guess to be 100% fair, because I think at that point, if I'm fighting for this building and I'm at even odds, which is kind of what I would have been at. Better odds than CC7, but that's about it. Um, yeah, and I think if I'm fighting there and then he comes in on the rear side, it would have been problematic. Or split the force in two. Have some conscripts come in on G4, go into FF4, and then into these buildings, or G4, FF3. If these guys move
So yeah, I
east,
mean, I forget where my train of thought was there. Sorry, 4-year-olds are demanding occasionally.
yeah, no worries. I was just talking. I was just had myself muted here, but I was just talking about how uh, if the building didn't go down, then maybe splitting the reinforcements into 2 groups and then hoping they do really well. But
I mean, I have a feeling the reinforcements are going to get shot up. I think your tank can see everything up to what is it,
no, I can't.
P3.
So I can see G. What is it? 5 with the tank. I can't see it with the MMGs. And the tank is in motion and buttoned up, so the pluses would be crazy. Um, and I only ever have one shot because they don't have rate of fire. That's how garbage they are. But I mean, it's still a crapshoot because not to say that the 347 in the back in EE3 is a superhuman squad or anything, but it is going up against conscripts, which it's it should have a better handle of things. And I mean, other than getting maybe an encirclement, if BB3 moves southeast and then advanced phase, you're shooting at it and stuff. Um, it's hard to say that you could really. Uh,
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm fairly sure I can deny you control over that building, that back building, the
yeah,
FF3, E4, E5 building, like that. I don't have any problem. Like, it would be contested. I might not control
yeah.
it, but it would certainly be contested.
CC7 is definitely the. I
And
think.
yeah, that's where it's going to go because everybody else that's in there, DD6 is all dummies. So if I lose that, I basically don't have the strength to retake it. The only group I've got is the one up with the 8-0 leader, and I just don't think I have enough strength against what's down there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the fortuitous sniper, I guess I'll call it.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. In hindsight, like I said, there was some changes I would make to my defensive deployments. I'd probably be a bit further back and be using that kind of little redoubt with the stone walls and things like that as a base to do things. Either make you go all the way around the backside, kind of deliberately,
Hmm.
or assault over that across that kind of open ground because that's where it is. But
I think,
yeah,
like, thinking about it, I think I wouldn't have a problem with an MMG here, like in either X7 or W7, because X7 you can see down this road. The hindrance is just because the tank, which I'm actually surprised it calculates. Uh, but you can still see like a pretty sizable distance down the way. Can't see it to U3, but whatever. Um,
yeah, no, yeah, certainly. I mean, I'm sorry. I meant like I had guys like all the way up here and blah blah blah.
yeah,
I would just there is probably as far to that side that I would want to go, and I'd have much more over here, and kind of along this shell. Like this would be my defensive line basically,
yeah,
and kind of make you come and either rely on the conscripts or throw a single unit back there just to prevent stuff like that.
yeah. I also got pretty lucky with my rallies. I had a good set of rallies that allowed me to get back a lot of squads. And
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky with that shot there. That
that
the
was
snake
bound to
eyes there
happen.
helped.
That was bound to happen. Um, I think the only thing, I think instead of having a squad in S4, though, I think like I that's not like a bad decision. Just because had I not been lucky on my, I think it was an ambush. I forget. But if I didn't get the close combat victory there, I think a squad in Y3 just to like look down this road with an LMG and still has the firepower and range to do something up here. I think is definitely a valid thing to look into.
Yeah, you kind of need something back there just to keep you honest, because it
Hmm.
is. I don't want to say it's difficult to get up there, but it's relatively straightforward. It's what just basically another turn of
Yeah,
CX marching.
it's just time intensive. But having 8 turns is, I think, so. That's the other thing too is that you can kind of tell how old this scenario is because of the fact that it has a lot more turns than you would quote unquote need. I think if this scenario was a 7 turn scenario, it would make a lot more sense because it's turn 6 and I'm at this building. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would certainly make it a little bit more tense. Like you'd have a
Mm-hmm.
little bit like the fights over that last building would be much more important. Like
Yeah.
you get your assault here, maybe you take it. Maybe I have next turn for a last ditch, desperation assault on one hex to kind of try and deny you the control.
Yeah, I think yeah, I'd love to see. I think that's kind of the one thing I wish that like I can make this game more popular and just be like, hey, dudes, viewers, try this scenario, but with this new balance I've come up with, which is to give the Russians an extra LMG and just like play test it to see how good a change like that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the scenario went pretty quick. I mean, given all the interruptions and whatnot, and I apologize
Yeah,
for that.
don't you don't have to
But
apologize.
all in all, I think for a very long scenario, I think the density for troops is about right. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it helps that the first like 2 turns you're not really going to be shooting too much on either side.
yeah, you get pot shots from the MMGs and kind of jockeying around to see when the thrust of the assault becomes clear. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
All right. So next scenario, next Friday. So we're basically going back to the Le Francireur stuff. So we're back on a Russian versus Russian scenario. Still 1920. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Actually, this is the last scenario in the next one is the last one in 1920, and it's all 1921, and then we skip 6 years. So we're almost there. We're in the home stretch of this one scenario pack. And then it's basically just going to be like, well, that's right. So there's going to be a lot of Japanese versus Chinese, some red Chinese versus Chinese, which is going to be interesting itself. And then Paraguayan versus Bolivian. Unfortunately, there's only one scenario for that. And then we'll be very, very close to Spanish stuff. Lots of Chinese stuff. Some Italian versus Nigerian, which will be interesting. Or Ethiopian. And then a bunch of Spanish versus Spanish. Spanish versus Spanish. Which I'm looking at this at my list, and there are 4 scenarios with the exact same name, and I can guarantee at least 2 of them are the same scenario, and there's probably going to be at least 3 of them. All 4 of them are the exact same scenario. Wait, why is this? Why does this say Italian nationalist versus Italian Republican when it's supposed to be Spanish? Whoever wrote this did not do a good job. That's gonna be interesting because I don't think there's gonna be much different in the because usually if there's two or three of them, one's definitely gonna be an old version, and then a second is a reprint, and a third may just be something that has a very similar name or something. So uh, that might have to go under review to see like okay which version do we pick in case anything's different.
Yeah, that's cool. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yeah.
Good. Sorry, I'm on my Linux laptop and the microphone is flaky, so I apologize.
Yeah. No worries. But
Yeah,
yeah.
all my big stuff is packed away for a fair amount of time, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully it's safe and secure.
Well, yeah, unless a tree falls in the back end of my house, which at this point I would not put past.
Well, fingers crossed that doesn't happen because that would suck. Um, but yeah, so we got that scenario for next week. Back to Russian versus Russian, and then, like I said, home stretch for Russian Civil War stuff before we get to Chinese Civil War stuff.
So we're gonna be going from fighting with crappy rifles to fighting with crappy pistols. Is that the case?
Uh, uh, you know, I don't know. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes because it's Chinese versus Japanese is very cutthroat in my experience. Just because there's no quarter at all times if I remember correctly. Uh, Chinese dare death squads will definitely be in effect. Um, and the
Bonsai charges are always fun.
bonsai charges, human waves will be either be or become more of a thing, just because of how unfortunately the Chinese are portrayed. Sometimes legitimately, and other times just having that trope, same as the Russians. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And like I said, there's the Paraguayan versus Bolivian one, which will be very interesting because not many people know about the Chaco War. So,
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to it. So I will see you next week,
yep.
and we will keep going.
See you then, and yeah, get just whenever. No rush on the save there.
Yeah, probably. If hopefully I get to it tomorrow, but if not, then definitely Monday. So
Cool. Perfect. So see you then.
yep. See you. See you stream.
Cheers, guys.